Welcome to driving an SATX. It's like a stupid driving move competition out there. Here we go. In this week's first clip, sitting at this red light, the light turns green up ahead and everyone goes. Well, everyone that's paying attention anyway. I can't see in the video, but Mr. Camaro here was looking down when everyone else was taking off. I can only assume it was a phone he was looking at. When he looks up and sees that everyone's going, he lets off his clutch too fast and stalls out. Yet another driver who doesn't fully understand what this lane is for on the far left. This truck and trailer are in the passing lane. And yes, they are passing. I have no issues at this point because this is how it's supposed to be. But then we get into this clearing here, and I'm expecting this truck to move out of the way because I'm waiting to get around along with a trail of vehicles behind me. When this truck had a clearing to move over to let us all pass, it did not. So I moved over to see what the holdup was. The holdup was nothing more than a stupid driving move. Here's another one that makes me laugh every time. Look, we're all out here trying to get somewhere. For the most part, we would all like to get where we're going as quickly as possible. Of course, most of us know the limits and respect that we'd rather arrive at some point rather than never at all. So risking our safety on the highway is never worth it. But there are people that drive like they are the only ones in any kind of hurry, and like we're all just in their way. They usually end up proving just how foolish they are, like this car, white BMW. White BMW is coming up traffic pretty quickly despite the fact that there's a wall of traffic that isn't going anywhere. Two vehicles move out of the way, but then the car runs into a trap. So of course, it decides that it's going to pass these cars by moving to the slower part of the highway. As we move ahead, you can see that white BMW went and got stuck in the slow traffic and is now further back than any of us that was trying to pass. This driver is waiting for a clearing to go. Now the best way to do this is to not allow your car to slowly roll out into the street where traffic is crossing. This guy doesn't understand the importance of this concept and he allows his car to slowly roll out while traffic is crossing. Trust me, guy, there's a better way. Here's another fast lane challenge driver. SATX is full of these. I'm talking about this Enterprise truck. See, this truck is waiting in this lane with a blinker on while other vehicles are passing in the passing lane. For some reason, this car right in front of me is afraid of passing a truck like that. Now, there really are drivers that think the lane shrinks when you pass a large vehicle like this, and they won't do it. When the Enterprise truck realizes this car isn't going to pass, it moves over to pass the truck that it's behind. At the same time, again I imagine out of fear, this car finally moves out of the way. The Enterprise truck then proceeds to pass the truck that it needs to pass, though it really did take its time. And now it has a clearing to move over. Now I'm realizing that the driver of this truck doesn't fully get it. Once you pass, if there are cars that are behind you wanting to pass, and you have a clearing to get out of the way, get out of the way. On this night, driving up I-10, I'm positioning myself to exit the highway on the Colorado-Cincinnati exit. It appears this truck also wanted to use this exit, but doesn't do much of a smooth job to position himself. Nope, he just jumps in front of me and immediately stomps on the brake as if we were coming up to stopped traffic. I'm gonna back this up to show you again. There is absolutely nobody and no reason to get right in front of me and start to hit the brakes like it's an emergency. The exit is up ahead, but I'm about to show you just how much room we still have. At this point, we're a quarter mile from the exit, but this driver starts stomping on the brakes way back here. Jeez. Here we are on the outskirts of town coming in westbound I-10. There's quite a bit of construction going on here, and it's down to 2 lanes as a result. As soon as we get up over this hill, we can see that up ahead there are emergency lights flashing. At this point, I'm not sure exactly where they are, but I am anticipating them. So I'm slowing down and looking to see which lane they're in so I can make sure to be in the opposite lane. I get close enough to see that the lights are in the right lane and move over to the left. You can see that there are other cars that also move over to the left for the same reason. And then there's this guy. This guy somehow managing to operate this big truck despite obviously being numb in the head. Everyone is making their move to get over, and we're getting close enough to the lights that they really are all we can see other than the rest of the traffic. And this guy decides maybe it's a better idea to be in the right lane, where the emergency vehicles with flashing lights are stopped. Then it even takes him a minute to realize this isn't a good idea, and he finally comes back over to the left lane. This is a case of either not paying attention or not caring at all. Either way, this is the kind of driver that shouldn't be on the road with the rest of us. Stop signs are pretty damn simple and self-explanatory. Stop. You're in motion, and you are directed to come to a stop. This is why they call it a stop sign. Some people have trouble with coming to a complete stop, but this person, I don't even think could read. And that's actually a requirement for driving. Here is a stop sign, and that obviously wasn't even close. I'm gonna back it up and let it play without a pause so you can see just how badly this lady blew that stop sign. This is clearly a sleep number truck. I've heard their commercials. People say good things. Of course, I'm not sure I ever heard a commercial in which people don't say good things, but I've never heard anything about their drivers. So this guy represents the whole company fleet right now. As soon as we exit the parking lot, this guy immediately has trouble with one of those fighting steering wheels, looks like. Even though this is a pretty wide lane, this guy isn't capable of keeping his truck in this lane, so he leans his left tires onto the next. He tries to straighten out, but you can see the struggle. Then it looks like he finally takes control of his wild stallion of a truck. But just a little down the road, the truck decides to start putting up a fight again. The driver controls it as it passes some debris on the road, but then the truck heaves over to the left. The driver gives it one last try and realizes he isn't going to tame this truck in this lane, so he puts on the blinker as he allows the truck to drive him. Even in this lane, the truck isn't happy. They say two is better than one, right? Well, when it's two stupid driving moves happening at the same time right next to each other, that's not the case at all. We'll start with this pickup, which has just moved into the passing lane. As you can see, as soon as it gets into the passing lane, it fails to make a move to pass. The white SUV is able to squeeze in and get on its way, but then here comes this Volkswagen. The VW is making its way over to the left as it anticipates moving faster than traffic, I imagine. I'm going to pause it here to show you that this truck now has a huge gap ahead of him and should really get out of the passing lane if it's just going to continue camping next to cars like this. The VW assesses the situation and sees that the truck isn't making any progress. So rather than get behind the truck and give the truck a hint that it should move over, VW decides to go the long way around. Funny thing is, as soon as this car makes a move to the far side, this truck saw this sign and realized they've not only been mindlessly driving in the fast lane, they're now closer to the exit than they should be at 4 lanes out. Now, with the blinker on, the truck is determined to get across 4 lanes of traffic, and in the process, almost crashes into the car that's going around through the slower traffic on the right to avoid the very truck that is now veering into their lane. People, pay the hell attention to your surroundings on the road for the sake of all of us, and also, just pass on the left like the law requires. Watch this car as it approaches this one. See that? Some people might say this was a simple mistake, but let's back it up and break down just how much of a stupid driving move this was. Alright, let's start here. This is when the driver first activates the blinker. Notice the positioning of the car. The steering wheel has already been turned, and the car is already starting to move into the next lane, and the blinker was just activated. This is not how it's done. It is unsafe, unlawful, and just plain stupid. Move forward a few frames. You can see where the driver finally reacts to the car they're cutting off. That means, while moving at about 65 miles an hour, this driver started moving over to the next lane, then turned on the blinker, then decided to look back and check and see if there are any cars. This is the absolute ass-backward way to do this, and it could get somebody killed out here. One more thing I'd like to point out is that this driver is moving over as they need to take the ramp for 1604. The exit is coming up, and this is where they decided to start making their move to get over. When this screenshot from Google Maps shows that there is a sign that warns drivers that they are approaching 1604 as far back as 1.5 miles. Why the hell do people wait until there's almost no room left to get into their lanes? I don't get it, and I've had enough for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe. This never stops.